Hi guys, my name is Devin. I work with healing and I also do psychic readings, tarot readings. I have a channel, Divine Diva, Healing Oracle. Feel free to come follow me over there.
Yes, and that's on YouTube, you guys. So make sure that you are subscribed to her so you can also get some lovely energy healing plus some tarot and oracle readings as well, and everything else that she offers. So today we are here today and we have a little name for ourselves, the Healing Oracles. So we are going to be doing this little video cast, podcast, live stream together. Talking about many different things in spirituality, many different things about our psychic abilities, and then also involving you guys and kind of teaching you guys, letting you know our story. And that's what we're doing today, is our story. So do you want me to go ahead and ask you the first question, Devin?
Sure.
Okay, perfect. So I know that one of our first questions was, when and why did you dip into spirituality?
So it kind of came as a shock. Actually, honestly, I think that it was the Great American Eclipse. Now thinking back, I really think it was the eclipse of 2017 that really activated me. Actually, a few people I know at that time really found God and activated, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was also, though, at a very dark point in life. I had a ridiculous, crazy childhood, and just like the party life and toxic relationships after toxic relationships.
Yeah.
And I was just literally at a point where I wanted no freaking more. And I didn't realize it. I had asked God, help me, what the, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I didn't really realize that God was trying to help me. I wasn't listening and I wasn't in control of my own energy.
Mm-hmm.
So I was sabotaging myself completely over and over and over, picking toxic relationship after toxic relationship. And then I happened to, it was the day, it was the solar eclipse. So it was the one we were supposed to wear the sunglasses for. And that night I got guided. Now I say I got guided, but then it was a video popped up. It was Bob Proctor, which I don't know if you know who he is, but he's an older guy. And it's just weird that I would even come across that video, much less pay attention to it, right? But he was talking in that video about how he came up, how he made millions of dollars, and how he did it by using his energy. And so I was introduced to the law of attraction, and I was like, damn, that really kind of makes sense. Talking about how we talk things into existence, and from there it just spiraled like one thing after another. But yeah, I learned how to start using my energy, and then I learned about healing, and I learned how to heal myself, and now I work on healing others as well. And I couldn't be happier. I honestly cannot believe where I'm at now compared to then. I never really realized how beautiful and amazing life could be.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. I love that. And I love good old Bob Proctor, because I feel like if you are in spirituality, his name is bound to come up at any point in time. What's that one book? He promotes this one book by Napoleon Hill. Get Rich.
Think and Get Rich. Yeah.
Think and Grow Rich or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
That one.
I have that book.
Yeah. It's a good one. I started reading it. I didn't complete it, but I did read all the 13 steps and everything like that. And it was basically a formula for law of attraction, which we'll get into a little bit later.
When did you start noticing your abilities?
Yes,
your psychic abilities.
I started noticing my abilities. So I honestly started noticing my abilities come full fold, into fruition, basically. This past May, that was my birthday. And so around that time, it was literally the exact day. It was my birthday. I remember I asked my spirit guides. I was already building a connection with my spirit guides. I had been in a spiritual path for over a year at that point. And in disguise, in the background, I had been doing some trauma healing. I've been doing reprogramming of my mind. And I had no idea what a spiritual awakening was. I had no idea. That word never even crossed my path, which is so strange. I was like the universe letting me know I'm not ready for it yet, because I had learned things about law of attraction. I had learned things about reprogramming. I had learned things about chakras, and I had just been doing those things, doing the work behind the scenes that allowed me to get to a point that was ultimately a spiritual awakening. And that was the same exact day that I noticed my psychic abilities come and kick in. And I remember I was like having a little house party. It was like for my birthday, and it was still quarantine. So it was like I had 2 other people there. It wasn't even a big deal, but I go into the bathroom, and before the party starts, I like look in the mirror. I'm like talking to my higher self. I'm talking to my guides who I already established a connection with. And I was like, all right, like I surrender, because my birthday is so important to me that I'm always like, something's got to work, something's got to happen. Like I got to do something big, you know, and grand. And I was like, you know what? Like this time around, I trust the universe so much. I trust my spirit guides so much. And I just surrendered. Basically, I surrendered all my expectations. And I remember saying, please make this the best birthday ever. And then 10 minutes later, I start to have like this revelation, like feelings come over my body. And I had already been slightly gaining some psychic abilities up until then. But on that birthday, 10 minutes after I made that request or blessing and I really let go, is when it all came in. And like I got psychic smell. I got a little bit more of my clairsentience, which is feeling, like the psychic feeling. And so I was being able to tell like when someone needed a cup of water to drink, when someone wasn't feeling okay, or when someone was about to like laugh really hard. Like I was just getting these sensations from everywhere. Not to mention I was also having telepathic moments with my significant other at the time, and that was crazy because I legit was speaking to them with my mind. We just made eye contact, so it was like a permission kind of thing, and it was just paragraphs, and I was like studying their face, and I was like, your lips aren't moving, my lips aren't moving, but I can hear your voice in my head. And when we actually stopped the paragraph or whatever we were saying, we opened our mouths and we were like, did we just communicate telepathically? And we both were on it. We were both in sync. And that's basically the jump start of when I figured out my ability.
You actually heard his voice in your head?
Yes.
See, that's interesting.
Nothing's happened like that to me before.
Because twice I've actually heard a male's voice in my head when I was in yoga. And I don't know, like, and I haven't been like connected, but so I don't know. I just popped it up like that's my higher self, you know. But I've noticed that it was at really intimate moments, like when I was either in trance or in yoga, and it was just very. This one time, the second time, I heard "I love you," and I felt like somebody's chin or finger going up my chin, like "I love you."
Oh, like hey, like chin up, love you.
Yeah. But I actually heard the voice, so that's interesting that you...
It could have been a higher self. It definitely could have been an ancestor as well, especially if they're just like doing that. Have you ever had anyone in your life that like does something like that?
You know, I was considering that maybe it was my high school sweetheart that passed away because he was kind of slick like that. But I mean, I don't know for sure.
Yeah, we can't tell for sure, but we have the feeling inside, especially people with like schizophrenia, when they like even see things, or if they have hallucinations. It's like you could just have clairvoyance that's really like kicked off high gear, and if you don't know where it's coming from and you're scared of it, it can lead you in a path where you're not in balance, and it can lead you down some troubled waters.
You just triggered me saying you know, how anything can happen, and that just reminded me of my old self versus now, right? When I was so closed off and didn't believe, right? So it's so magical. The world is so magical. Like if we're open to it, it can happen. And I just wanted to mention that because a lot of people, like I know, think the spiritual community is whacked or you know, delusional or whatever, but it's really all about having that open mindset and be opening to experience new, crazy, mystical, magical experiences. Because I've had quite a few myself. Like, what the hell was that? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. 2017.
I want to say it was August or September of 2017.
Okay, nice.
Which, being the eclipse, and like I said, I know several other people that were activated. Eclipses are so powerful, you guys. Like, make sure you get out and get you some eclipse energy for sure.
And you know what was crazy about that too is that specific, I remember that. And I was not interested in it at all.
Right.
Like, I was obviously not on my spiritual path. I was like, okay, whatever, I'll just see it when it's online. Like, I was not called to it by any means. And that was just kind of the universe saying, it's not your time. Like, it's just not your time yet. And it's just crazy because I was so like, oh, whatever. Like, that, you know, it doesn't mean anything to me. And people were freaking out, getting the glasses, making sure they can, like, have the moment to get out of work or out of school and go outside and see. And I was just, like, not into it. And
Well,
I
I can't say I wasn't into it like that. Like, I always thought that I've always been really called to nature and the moon and the sun, but as far as the spiritual aspect, not at all. Like,
yeah, the spiritual
I
aspect was like not there.
no, I had no clue. I mean, I can say I've always been drawn to more metaphysical things, but I was always so busy being the victim, being, you know, or being wasted or being, you know, in toxic relationships that I never, well, because what you focus on expands, right?
It's true.
I never realized my gifts because I was too busy placing my energy elsewhere.
Yeah, exactly. That can definitely happen. Did we talk about yet how you got to develop your own psychic abilities or any abilities for that matter?
So, like I said, right after my awakening, I just turned into a complete nerd.
Her house is a complete library.
Yeah.
Like, when I say complete library, there's books upstairs, there's books downstairs, there's books in her room, like information landmine.
Yeah, so I just really got called to, like, I started learning about all these metaphysical physical things, right? And how they're all connected. And it's just like, it set me on my purpose for sure, because it's just really good news. Like, if somebody like me could come from the place where I was, just, you know, in a really bad place, I had hit rock bottom more times than I can even count, right? To where I'm at now, emotionally stable, secure, assured of myself, and completely happy, content, all by myself. You know, and manifestation came up. Like, I started learning that we speak everything into existence, and I'm like, what?
That was definitely important.
Hell yeah, I want to give me some of that. Girl. And then I learned about the placebo effect. And I watched a video. It was a TED Talk from Lisa Rankin. And she talks about spontaneous remission. And there's like thousands and thousands of these spontaneous remissions where these people are literally getting better and there's no justification for it, right? Well, what they're doing is they're learning to heal themselves. They are speaking these things into existence. They are programming their cells and learning to heal themselves. And when I found out that was possible, girl.
You're like, that did it for me. You said, oh, I can do this by myself? Like, then I will.
Right. Well, I would have been content with just the first part of it. Like, the fact that there was more layer upon layer upon layer, like,
girl, so much. He was like, girl.
How has your spiritual awakening and your growth impacted your mental health aspects?
Yeah, so I got into spirituality because of my mental health. I was going through a time where my whole entire life, actually, I had been like the psychotherapist for like everyone in my life. And I think that naturally I've had this thing of, how do I get better? How do I feel better? How do I feel better? Like, every single day, it's always a question that I would ask myself, and I would see other people struggling and I would just know what to do to help them. And when it got to me, maybe I wasn't practicing what I preached or something like that, but I always just felt like I'm looking at life negatively. Like, I just am. And, you know, things seem fine, like, externally, but internally things were never that fine. And I was always on the lookout for new things that could help. And of course I would be like, well, if I had a lot of money, I would be happier. If I had this, I'd be happier. If I could go out, if I had a car, I'd be happier. And that was just me being ignorant, thinking that external factors could really heal me on the inside. And that wasn't necessarily the truth. And I was like, you know what if this is perpetuating my mental health decline or perpetuating things that I no longer want? So I said, all right, I'm going to go on like a 3-month break. I'll just be completely sober and fine and just see if that aids me in anything. And as I was explaining this to one of my coworkers at the time, they were like, well, have you ever heard of Abraham Hicks and the law of attraction? And I was like, no, like what? And they're like, well, you have to read it. And the thing that they really said, which is like, you know, an angel is speaking to you directly at that time. Like when someone, like when an angel comes into a person and they use them as like a radio voice box, they said, usually when I tell someone about the law of attraction, it is in a very specific time in their life. And I was like, what does that mean? And I was like, okay. I went home and I was like, law of attraction. I was like, let's see what this is about. I watched one video, and in that instant, I literally felt my anxiety leave my body. Like I felt it alchemize, you know? And I was like, wow, like I have a hand in creating something. I have a hand in creating my life. Like law of attraction, like if this is what I've been attracting, like it clicked. I came into a realization that whatever is happening to me in my life, kind of like that victim mentality, it was because I was attracting it. And I said, well, I don't want to attract that. And like me being a Taurus in nature, me being stubborn, me being like, oh, like if I can cut you, if I want to cut you out of my life, I was like,
Mm-hmm.
well, I'm going to cut all this BS out of my life. Like if I'm attracting this, I'm the reason it's happening. So let me not. And that, just understanding that allowed me to go every single day and try different things. Then I later found out about meditation. I found out about manifestations. I found out about programming your mind or quantum jumping, like the 2 cups with the water that like
Mm-hmm.
everyone talks about. I was doing all those things. I was doing all those things. And it really helped me understand my own emotions, me understand why I'm feeling a sort of way. And the process wasn't necessarily that fast of me feeling like I didn't like go to bed that day and be like, wow, I'm all the way better. Like, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
I still had depression and stuff. I still had other things that were triggers. But working on them every single day allowed me to do some shadow work, allowed me to do some healing, allowed me to understand my emotions. And when you understand yourself, you can understand other people. And I think it was a perfect setup in my path to allow me to have the career that I have now.
Yeah, I think the intention is so
Mm-hmm.
powerful. Just setting the intention, really gets the ball moving. So if there's like people watching that don't have their energy under control, or they are experiencing low vibrational shit,
Mm-hmm.
set the intention to heal, set the intention to be happy, and then just be very cautious of where you place your energy. Catch yourself when your emotions start falling into that state of worry or doubt or lack, and then change your focus to something you're grateful for, right? Change
Yeah.
your focus to something that you love. You can't live in fear and gratitude at the same time. The more
No.
that you practice doing this, the more happy you're going to be, the more you're bringing in those higher vibrational energies.
Mm-hmm.
So it's so easy, but it does take some discipline. But it's so easy, like a lot of people think, that can't be true, right?
Right.
That's too good to be true, but it's true, right? This is just we're not taught about it.
Yeah. And everything honestly stems from awareness. I think, like how I usually say, even when I'm doing my readings, I'm like, well, there is work and there's a process to get from point A to point B. But honestly, if something's bugging you, you not knowing what it is makes it worse. But just by you being aware of what the root cause is, like let's say someone has a trigger and you're like, okay, well, when someone says this to me, then I'm going to be angry, I'm going to be mad. But I'm like, no, but what was the first time that someone ever said that to you? Maybe that's what needs to be healed. And when that awareness is just thrown out there and realized, that does like half of the alchemy. Like that is
That's
alone
how the
does.
spontaneous remissions come. People are realizing where that emotional issue stems from. People with cancer. This one guy had like 50 brain tumors. They're realizing where that came from, and then it disappears like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about getting to the root.
Thanks for joining in today. Devin, thank you so much for being here. Can't wait to keep doing these with you. And everyone have a blessed day. Thank you so much for watching.
Hi
Bye.
guys.